In this edition of INN CEO Talks, I'm joined by Jeremy Bauer of Reach Resources, and we're talking about rare earth elements and lithium. Jeremy, welcome back. You know, it's been a couple of months since we last talked. Let's bring viewers up to date.
Hi, Stuart. Nice to see you again. We've been really busy since we spoke mid last year, I think it was. We've certainly been active, as you mentioned, on the rare. We pivoted somewhat away from our gold exploration. We do have inferred gold resource at Paynes Find, but with the market so buoyant around rare earth and other battery metals, it was prudent for us to spend more effort and funds on our Gascoyne region tenure. The Gascoyne region in Western Australia is emerging as probably one of the hottest critical metals, critical mineral regions in the country. So we had initial 3 tenements, and we've now increased that through applications on our behalf and a couple of acquisitions, which we can go into further.
Well, tell us about those acquisitions, because they also open up new opportunities for you.
That's correct. So we recently announced 2 acquisitions, unrelated, but in a similar region. We have our 2 core focus projects in the Gascoyne Skyline project, which is immediately east of Hastings Metals Technology, the soon to be the next rare earth mine in Australia. So the first acquisition was 2 tenements to the east of our current Skyline project that sit just on what we refer to as the Edmund and Collier Basin, sedimentary basin, which has a 200-kilometre long geological complex with outcropping manganese. We were deliberate in our pursuit of these, as we see manganese as a great diversification for the company. It's the 4th used metal globally, no substitute in the steelmaking process, so clearly there's significant demand just on that, and I believe about approximately 90% of the metal is used in that process. However, it is in the battery metal space that manganese is also growing in significant importance from the cathode manufacturers and in particular the EV market. So we're really enthused. That was a low cash deal. It's something that we'll be looking at in this coming year. So that was actually acquisition 1. Acquisition 2 is next to our Critical Elements project, which is 80 kilometres south of Skyline. And that made up of 2 tenements, one with known lithium mineralisation. So we have rock chips across an area which has widespread outcropping pegmatites. The really important aspect on this one, and why we chased this one down, was it adjoins Red Dirt Metals Yinnetharra lithium project. So they're a company who paid for their project with known lithium and spodumene mineralisation, and we adjoin that. But in particular, it's the geology, which is the same complex which actually runs through our tenement, as where they've had success with the drill bit in finding lithium. So we're really excited about that one, and that'll be our first focus. Come beginning of March, in fact, we'll be out there on the ground. We already have pathfinder minerals associated with that, such as cesium, rubidium, tantalum, in soils to levels that give us confidence that we may be looking at LCT evolved pegmatites. And just to finish off, associated with that second acquisition was another tenement which adjoins one of our original critical elements blocks, and that gives us it gives us greater scale and continuity of tenure, which enables us to really interrogate longer strike lengths. That area is more prospective for rare earths. Hasn't had as much work done. There's some old workings that have discovered niobium and tantalum and beryl in the past. But as you're aware, Stuart, a lot of this exploration for the rare earth elements is only been in recent years. So that gives us some opportunities to really expand on our rare earth footprint as well.
So in which direction do you go next? Because you've got a number of opportunities.
We'll focus initially on the lithium deposit. The lithium price has done exceptionally well in terms of an opportunity to get it out of the ground. There's certainly less work involved or processing than the rare earth side of things. And with our neighbour having success, with our rock chips and already numerous pegmatites mapped, it makes sense to go straight to that tenement. So that'll start in the beginning of March.
And do you have the funding that you need to move forward now, or are you going to have to go back and raise some more?
No. When we announced these acquisitions, it was coupled with a $2 million capital raise, which was oversubscribed. So that gives us enough funding to attack this aggressively and as quickly as possible, albeit I'm not rushing into this. We're methodically and systematically undertaking our exploration with the aim to get a drill rig out there within the first half of this year.
So that's where you're mining in the ground, but through Regenerate, tell us what you're doing there and why it is also a proper alignment for the company.
Yeah, sure. I'm glad you raised that, Stuart. So Reach invested over $1.8 million into a startup, effectively. It's a company based in the US, developed by researchers out of the University of Houston who've managed to patent a technology, a chemical process which separates the rare earth elements from permanent magnets, which are required in all EVs, in wind turbines, MRI machines, hard disk drives. And the key with this process is it enables it to separate these elements individually, whereas previous processes weren't able to do that. And it's at relatively low temperatures with benign solvents, so all getting the tick with the US EPA. So it's clearly a technology that is aligned with the global push for a circular economy and a greener future. And I guess for us at Reach, we want to put our money where our mouth is as well, and not just deliver on the upstream, but also on the downstream side.
Well, it seems interesting to me that you're mining with a known source that's in each one of those magnets that's being taken apart. Like it's as though you've got a guaranteed hit, and it's just a question of accumulating those and putting them back into the market.
Yeah, certainly. I guess we're not your average explorer, Stuart. So as I said, we've got the gold resource, which is a great hedge to have in this market. And we'll continue to do some work on that. we'll watch the gold price and see what's happening there. But then rare earths clearly is a metal for the future, where we've got that, as we mentioned, the upstream and downstream side. But I was very keen to diversify into other battery metals, lithium and manganese. They're both, as I mentioned, lithium, both of them, manganese included, are actually a simpler metal to mine and to get to market. So it gives us options, and it's a pretty exciting year ahead, to be honest.
It looks like it from afar, and I hope that you're going to come back and give our viewers further updates, because each time I talk to you, the company's position just continues to improve.
I will do, Stuart. No problem. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Nice to see you today.